there, this is Tata, and welcome to the TNA Post Show. It is Thursday, July 25th, 2024, and tonight I'm joined by the one and only Burt Maclin.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, so we have quite a few things to talk about tonight. I appreciate, apologize for the late start, you guys. Well, let's kick things off talking about NXT. We find out on Tuesday that at the Great American Bash, Joe Henry is performing with one of his first world famous concerts.
This should be good.
Oh, it definitely should be.
Just for the people who the people haven't seen it before, especially the NXT fans that haven't seen it, this should be really fun.
I agree. I was at the Rebellion tapings or the Hard to Kill tapings when Joe Henry did his last concert, the Can You Please Get Fire to AJ Francis. We haven't seen a concert since then, and I cannot wait for this.
Yeah, these are always very fun. So
I have a feeling it's going to be on the Gala since he seems to be feuding with them.
Yeah, he wrestles Joe Coffey, I think, Great American Bash the first week, so that's going to be a really good match.
Definitely. Now, Joe Henry was not the only NXT star. The only TNA star on NXT. We also had the Rascals, Smoke 'em If You Got 'em, reuniting on NXT. And not only that, they got the main event. They were in the main event and they won against Axiom Fraser and Javon Evans.
This was a banger. For the people who don't watch NXT, Javon Evans is someone. Anytime he's on TV, you need to watch. He's gonna be the next big thing. Yeah, this was a really good match. It was really awesome just to continue to hear the Rascals TNA song in NXT. Yeah, this was a fun match.
I don't watch NXT, but I'm familiar with Javon Evans in the very little that I've seen in him. But give me Javon Evans versus Leon Slater.
Yeah, that'd be a very good match.
Yeah, it would be. All right, now let's kick things off talking about Explosion. Now, the System took over Explosion, and this was before Slammiversary. Moves with a massive victory over Bhupinder Gujar. One of the things I disliked about this was I felt like it was a really short match. Granted, Gujar is no enhancement talent, but I get why they did this. They wanted a dominant victory for Moose.
Yeah, this was very smart, strategic to have him get a win going into the show. So yeah, I have no problem with this.
Same.
And yeah, and Bhupinder is not in hand. He's more of an established guy, so I think it means more.
That's true. So we had Around the Ring with JDC, and JDC, I learned a little something. I didn't know JDC was on Explosion way back in 2003, a young Johnny Curtis. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I like how he was talking about how he should be hosting and making Gia wait.
That's funny.
Yeah. I like how at the end he wishes Gia good luck and he says that cuts are coming.
That's hilarious.
It was. JDC's unintentionally hilarious.
That's very true. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I don't know if he means to be funny, but the stuff that he says the stuff that he says is actually pretty funny sometimes. So it's I don't know if he actually means to be funny or but I think it was
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So next we get Brian Myers versus Ace Austin. This was a little, how can I say, foreshadowing of what happened at Slammiversary. As we all know, at Slammiversary, ABC regained those tag titles. Here we had Brian Myers versus Ace Austin. This was a good match. Ace Austin getting the massive victory over Brian Myers. And Eddie Edwards' jaw dropped on commentary here.
Yeah, that was cool though. That how Alicia was commentated in the first match and Eddie during this match. Yeah. Ace Austin and Chris Bay, whether it's singles or tag, have been on a roll lately, so I didn't think that was going to stop here. This was a good match. Brian Myers always has solid matches, so.
He is the most professional.
Yep.
For a reason. All right, so now let's get into the Tonight Show. So we got to talk about Josh Alexander before we review the whole show, because I think it's important. Now, Josh Alexander shocked everybody at Slammiversary when he turned heel and went low on Joe Henry. I mean, he literally gave Joe Henry a low blow. Now, tonight, we had new entrance music, and he says that although he's a proud Canadian, he couldn't wait to go back to his city, the real city of Toronto. And the crowd kept singing, na, 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 na. So Josh pretty much refused to explain his actions. And I actually really like this. I really, really like this.
Yeah, he doesn't know the fan shit. I'm glad he didn't. But although I was hoping for like a cliche, like, when a heel will say, you want to know why? Or maybe he didn't sell out, he bought in. Just one of those, but this was really good how he didn't give the crowd anything. I really like this. They should draw it out as long as they can. Well, like, not a long time, but, until he has a sit down.
He was upset Canadian fans were chanting for Joe Henry, but fans are still upset that they didn't call an audible and have Joe Henry win at Slammiversary. I do think that's part of the reason why Josh Alexander turned heel, because he's Canadian. They were in his home country, and who were the people chanting for? They were chanting for Joe Henry instead of him. Kind of, I guess you can compare to Eddie Edwards' situation why he originally turned heel. I mean, everybody had a chance to face off Omega to bring the TNA World title back home, and he was overlooked.
Yeah, that's very true. And they could build on that.
Definitely. And I mean, I don't want to compare, but you can even compare this to, like, you can even say this similar to Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. Like, Hangman Adam Page was upset over the fact that the fans chose Swerve Strickland, and Swerve Strickland invaded his house and everything. I
think also, even just a simpler point, because that is really good as well. Whoever, like, if they were going to not put the title on Joe Henry that night, if they were already going into it deciding that wasn't the time, whoever, like, eliminated Henry would have a good chance of becoming pretty hated, you know what I mean, and a pretty big heel. So to have Josh turn heel the way he did, yeah, I think that was a very good decision. I think also, too, at that point, and I've seen people say you probably could have had Josh win. You know what I mean? But yeah, Josh was getting some heat when he came out, so obviously it worked.
No, I do agree. You could have had Josh Alexander win, especially after he eliminated Joe Henry, because I do feel like Joe Henry's going to be chasing that world title.
Yeah, especially, and like, if they have BFG in the UK, that's obviously even more perfect of a time to do it.
Exactly, I agree. Now let's kick things off with what the opening segment. So tonight's show opened up with Nic Nemeth. I feel like this was your typical babyface promo. The only interesting thing that I think he said was that he will be a fighting champion. He will fight anyone, anytime, anywhere, any damn night, any wrestling company. That's what caught my attention.
Yeah, this is probably just leaning to, I mean, it's going to lead to him having a match in NXT, I would assume. Which, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be anywhere else. Maybe some indie overseas or in the States, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be AEW.
Definitely. So he gets interrupted by none other than Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali talking about how they witnessed the biggest screw job in wrestling. And I don't know what the people were chanting. I think they were chanting something in French. But he was like, I don't even know what that means. Screw you too.
This is probably my favorite segment of the night just because I'm glad they didn't do the typical. I really like this because obviously they could have done what they would do a lot of the times, would have Moose come out and ask for the media rematch. He never got pinned. But I like the fact that, yeah, Ali lost, but the X Division title is technically supposed to be like almost like the stepping stone. You know what I mean? You look at the people who held that belt, and a lot of them went on to be world champions. So I have no problem with Ali being the next person to challenge that title, the world title. I also like, just I don't know this, but maybe Ali sticking around. You know what I mean? Like, I know he has a match next week, but still, you know. But yeah, I like this.
Sam, I thought it was a really great opening segment, and Nic Nemeth officially grants Mustafa Ali a match. Of course, it's next week, even though Nic Nemeth wanted to do it tonight.
Well, Ali's a heel. You know, he doesn't wrestle on the fans' time.
That's true. All right, we get Matt Hardy and ABC getting interviewed backstage. And one of the things that he says is that they have someone who believes in them, which we find out later on in the night that person they were talking about was Joe Henry.
I think it was pretty obvious at that point. And you couldn't say his name because you didn't want to come out right then.
Yeah, say his name and he appears.
Yeah, you just had to allude to it.
Joseph saying, I'm curious why Ali didn't use it as option C before he lost to Speedball. He felt like he beat everybody and didn't want to defend versus Speedball. Because then the match with Speedball wouldn't happen. And I think that was the plan. Ali versus Speedball.
Yeah.
So kayfabe-wise, I understand why he would want to use option C, but, you know, just wouldn't make sense. So Nic Nemeth goes backstage, and we find out that Frankie Kazarian is upset with him because he claims that he stole the title from him. Now, this whole segment basically sets up Frankie Kazarian versus Ryan Nemeth next week.
Yeah, he said he knows why he calls him the wanted man, because he's a big thief. I think that's what he said.
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, this seemed pretty just typical. Like, I figure this match would be obvious just because I think they had that backstage altercation. So I figured Ryan Nemeth would get a match. And then I could see Kazarian and Nick being the main. It's an Emergence next, right?
Yeah.
I could see that being the match in Emergence.
Yeah, I could see that too. I could see that being the main event. All right. So Steve Maclin cuts a promo. And one of the things that Steve Maclin has been talking about was about how he was trying to turn over a new leaf. That's true. You know, he aligned himself briefly with Santana. He's been trying to change his ways. But
yeah, he basically said, I was about to turn babyface, but now screw you. I'm not. Like, this was very funny.
It was, because he said that as a patriot and as a veteran to the greatest country in the USA, he was upset that the people were saying, nah, 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 nah. I mean, he flipped the crowd off.
That's funny how that came back later in the show, just with the system, because I think it was like Hannah Fan who said, oh, well, maybe they shouldn't have came here dressed up like with USA flags all over their clothes. And Raywall, it's like, hold on. Like, it was very funny.
Yeah, Matthew Raywall is the best on commentary. I think they make a really great commentary duo.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, this was great. I'm really liking this promo by Steve Maclin.
Definitely.
It was hilarious because he was trying to make excuses for why he was the first one out the match. He was the odd person out with no feud heading into a 6-pack match. And I did talk about this. I said that everybody was pretty much intertwined. Now, even though Steve Maclin has had rivalries with Moose, with Joe Henry, and even Josh Alexander himself, amongst them, he was the odd man out because he wasn't feuding with any of them at the moment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said during my reviews, all those men were intertwined with one another. Cody Deaner comes out and basically wants to shut Steve Maclin's mouth up, and the people want him to do it. I still wonder where this gimmick is going. I feel like it could potentially lead. I still think it could potentially lead to Cody Deaner turning heel because the people have gotten him in some odd situations.
Well, first of all, I don't think that people care. But if anything, maybe he'll just turn heel because, yeah, he does keep getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, and he can blame the people.
That's true. They shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, I mean, remember when the Grizzled Young Vets were still in TNA? He got in a 2-on-1 handicap match because the people wanted him to.
That's true. That's true.
So you blame the people.
Yeah.
See what happens when you give the people what they want?
Yeah.
Poor Cody Deaner. If this doesn't lead to a heel turn, then I don't know where this gimmick would go. But I personally think it'll lead to a heel turn. But Steve Maclin with the massive win over Cody Deaner. So we get a DMTV Vignette, a Death Machine TV. And I like how he calls AJ Francis a big dumbass, Rich Swann a little dumbass, and Josh Bishop a Psycho Sid looking dumbass. I thought this was hilarious.
That was funny.
And then not only that, TNA also mentions Joe Henry's concert at the Great American Bash. I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait to hear what Joe Henry's going to cook up for the Great American Bash. I don't watch NXT, but that's enough to get me to watch NXT. So we get AJ Francis versus Sami Calihan. And I thought this match was pretty interesting in the sense that Sami Calihan was pretty much in a 3-on-1 handicap match here. Yeah, the match was between him and AJ Francis, but Rich Swann was on the outside. Josh Bishop was on the outside. Sami Calihan cannot face First Class alone. I wonder if we're going to see the returns of Jake Chris and Mad Fulton, OVE, Ohio versus everybody.
I don't know about that, but I definitely see in the short term, especially since I think PCO and Steph's wedding is next week, I could see First Class interrupting that and at least Sami getting involved. So, which would set up a tag match between, First Class and Sami and PCO.
That's true. But then if they still accompanied by Josh Bishop, we need a third person.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see who they get.
Speaking of PCO, why do I have a feeling PCO's wedding with SCL is going to end horribly next week?
Well, because there's way too much proof of that. Yeah, of course it will.
I mean, I know nobody does weddings like TNA. I mean, who could forget Eric Young's and ODB's wedding?
Yeah.
But I still think it's going to be a disaster. I would be more surprised if the wedding main events Impact next week and it goes on without any problems.
Wouldn't that be something?
It would be something. All right, so we get a Rosemary Vignette, and she's got a couple of pictures on the wall. A couple of things that I noticed where she had Father Mitchell, Havoc, and I think she even had Abyss on there. So it seems like every person that's been associated with her is pretty much gone right now.
Was there a picture of Allie on there?
I believe so. I have to rewatch that.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where this is going. because it seemed pretty like a typical Rosemary promo, but yeah, I don't know who she. Yeah, I don't know. I think she's going to be feuding with Ash, I would presume, but
it does seem like she's going to feud with Ash, especially because Ash did take out Havoc, and I wonder if Havoc's coming back.
yeah, I'm not. I don't have any information on that.
Or maybe Jessica with the K, because she's sick, will make another appearance. I like Jessica with the K. I know it wasn't everybody's cup of tea. All right, so next we get ourselves a mixed tag match. It was Eric Young and Jordynne Grace versus Hammerstone and Ash by Elegance. I don't know about you, but I actually really enjoyed this match. I thought it was a really fun match.
Well, first of all, Hammerstone looked fucking jacked. He looked like he looked like he eats steaks with a side of steaks. Like, seriously, he looks huge. No, this was dope, and like, I popped, like, I think the whole crowd popped when it looked like Jordynne was gonna get him up for some kind of slam, but she didn't. No, but this was a really good match. Jordynne really, to me, stood out. Like, it makes me sad watching her just because I think it becomes more and more a reality that she probably will leave. You know, I hope she stays, but she's like such a big star. Like, I don't know, yeah, this is a really fun match.
Was a fun mixed tag, but I thought the concierge Iceman was going to shit his pants at the sight of that knife and Rosemary. Right. Now I have to say, Jordynne Grace did get Alex Hammerstone up, but just for a little bit. She had to put him back down. She didn't do anything. She just picked him up. Ash by Elegance attacking Eric Young. She's actually the reason why her team won. You know, she dropped Eric Young from the top of the turnbuckle while Iceman distracted the ref, and then Hammerstone with the torture rack, and then at the end that little dip, Hammerstone dipped Ash. And he twirled her. I thought that was really cool.
It was, I don't know. It seemed like, because I thought that was Ash's best match so far in TNA, was her match against Jordynne. So it just seemed like after that, because just them in the ring again, it just seemed like it put her on the next level in terms of, like, really, like, now I think you can absolutely say that she belongs in the main event scene. So, you know what I mean? All the praise goes to her. All the praise goes to her. So
it's definitely silenced me. As much as I was bitching and complaining about how that wasn't the Slammiversary match, she definitely proved me wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we get the System Vignette, and one of the interesting things about this is Alicia Edwards was the only one talking, and I like that she looked around and it zoomed in on everyone's face. Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, even JDC and Moose, they all looked so, like, I don't want to say sad, but they definitely were not happy. They did not say a word about anything, and Ambitious did all the talking because remember, she's the only member of the system that retained at Slammiversary. So I thought this was really interesting.
That was the only, she's the de facto leader now. Like, that promo was very telling.
It was.
She's like the only one that has any life left in her, like any fight left in her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Sorry, the ambulance is passing by. Io says system malfunction. Yeah, the system really did malfunction. All right, so we also get shown footage from NXT of the Rascals and their big victory, as we talked about earlier. Smoke them if you got them. I don't got them, unfortunately. So next, we get a Speedball Mike Bailey interview. And he's talking about his victory over Mustafa Ali. It gets interrupted by the Rascals, by all three Rascals, not just Wentz and Miguel. And we're gonna get a six-man tag match: the Rascals versus Bailey, Trent Seven, and Kushida. And I thought it was so hilarious that Wentz was like, "Oh, find Seven's other tag team partner, Trent 8."
That's funny.
It was. Obviously, I think he was referring to Tyler Bate, who unfortunately is out with an injury. You know, Tyler Bate and Trent Seven were Mustache Mountain. I think that had it not been for his injury, I could definitely see Tyler Bate coming to TNA.
Yeah. My favorite part about this promo, and just almost made me tear up, is when Mike Bailey said that TNA was built on two things: the X Division and the Knockouts Division. I really liked him saying that. I think a lot of people know, you know what I mean? A lot of people, if you ask them, will say the same thing. So that was awesome, him recognizing that.
I did like that part too, that he mentions the Knockouts and the X Division, because for the longest time, people do not give the Knockouts division the credit, the flowers that they deserve. While WWE still had their Divas division, TNA, this whole women's revolution started in TNA. You know, Awesome Kong and Gail Kim. Who can forget that incredible rivalry? The Knockouts are doing stuff long before this women's revolution, and I feel that nobody gives TNA credit for doing that.
I mean, yeah, the same can really be said about the X Division, just in terms of how they booked smaller wrestlers and then elevating a lot, like I said, those smaller wrestlers like AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, you know, to the main event scene. So yeah, both very revolutionary divisions.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. Who can forget Christopher Daniels versus AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Ella Gia Miller's expression, she had no idea what she signed up for. Amen. The Knockouts division is what turned me on to TNA as a product. For the first 3 to 4 years that I was a fan of TNA, it was about the Knockouts. Slowly but surely, I watched TNA as a whole company. No, yeah. Give TNA and the Knockouts division their flowers. Gail Kim, the beautiful people, Rosita, Sarita.
Yeah.
Madison Rain.
Exactly.
ODB.
Victoria, there's the Winter, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Again, ambulance. Sorry, people. No, but it really does make me sad that TNA is not giving credit for that. They should be giving credit for everything, for changing women's wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. Like here, yeah, you're completely right. Because up until a certain point, the only people's really perception of it from a like major U.S. company was what they saw on Raw. I mean, on WWE. So, yeah.
X Division greater than cruiserweights, knockouts greater than divas. Yeah, exactly. And it really frustrates me that WWE gets credit for the women's evolution. Don't get me wrong. In WWE, you know what? I'm just gonna stop right there. This is gonna go in a completely different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Becky Lynch gave credit to the TNA knockouts. That's good. But I'm just gonna stop right there. I'm not even gonna continue because we're gonna be here all night talking about this. That's a whole different video. So let's just move on. So we find out next week we get the wedding of PCO and SCO. Rosemary makes her in-ring return, and Ali challenges for the world title. Already looking like a stacked show.
And yeah, Hannah Fenn noted that's the first time that the world title has been defended on TNA Impact since November of last year. So this is a big show. That's a big match.
Definitely, I agree. So we get a 6-man tag match. It's Matt Hardy and ABC versus the System, who are all still dressed in their USA gear. And I thought this was a fun match. Definitely, one of the things that I noticed was Musa was not out there yet. And as Matt Hardy mentioned earlier, the person that they believe in was Joe Henry. And it makes sense because Joe Henry pinned Moose. Not only did he pin Moose, but remember, Joe Henry feuded with Moose for that digital media title. IOC, congrats to Slammiversary being their most bought pay-per-view on TNA Plus, topping Hard to Kill. Congrats.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
Definitely. But Matt Hardy and ABC won this match. And are we seeing the system start to malfunction? Is the system going to break up? Where does the system go from here?
Yeah, I'm glad Io said that, because right when obviously they did the spot where Moose missed and hit JDC with the spear, it's almost like, yeah, they're laying out the seeds that we're heading to a system breakup. Or I could see maybe just Alicia and Masha, just taking out Moose, Eddie, and Brian, just beating the shit out of them and kicking them out and forming a new system. Maybe they do that. I don't know.
I wonder if Moose spearing JDC was intentional, because remember, Moose did not consider JDC an official member of the system.
But you know what? I would say in terms of the honorary members, I think JDC's been better in his role than Carlito.
That's true.
With the, you know what I mean? JDC's at least been out there getting some wins, not messing up.
That's true. System got to deal with Santana too. System malfunction indeed. Alicia Edwards, who somehow retained her TNA Knockouts Tag Team title at Slammiversary, is trying to see the system as one big happy family after tonight. Yeah, right. And Jeff, oh no, hold on. And Jeff Hardy has the system has to deal with. What a fun show tonight. Can't wait for next week. Adam's Family themed wedding, maybe. Yeah, the system has a lot of people that are coming after them, so we'll see what happens. I don't think it's an Adams. Actually, maybe it might be, because she was just like Wednesday Adams, but that graphic, she looked like the bride of Frankenstein, so who knows? I cannot wait for the wedding. I'm actually really excited for this wedding.
Oh, yeah. It should be fun.
All right. Well, that's it for the review. Brie, you got any last words you want to say?
No, we're just on we're on the road to the Emergence. What is it? August 30th. So that's 30th. Like 5 or 6 shows till then. So yeah, it's always fun resetting after a pay-per-view. So yeah, keep watching.
Nope, no one gets shots again at this wedding. Hope no one gets shot again at this wedding. Oh my god. Because didn't Taya Valkyrie shoot Johnny Bravo?
Oh yeah. That's so fun.
That's how they wrote her off the first time. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you guys all so much for the support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever we go live or whenever Body Slam goes live. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.